Felix. 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 Hello, my name is Andreas, and I know nothing about cycling or tenting or like even just being outside. But yeah, we are cycling from Portugal to Norway, and I think I should explain why. So 1 year ago, me and my two friends we visited Gran Canaria, which is this like island under Spain. And after a little, like a few days there, we kind of got bored, so we decided to cycle. We were going to cycle first around the island and then over the island. So the first day we did just that. We cycled around it, but after just 1 day of cycling, we were so exhausted, our legs were hurting, and yeah, we had enough. So one of my friends, he just said, I'm done. He went back to the Las Palmas, which is this main city in Gran Canaria. But me and Marcus, which is my other friend, we decided to stay at a hotel and then decide the day after if we were actually going to try to cycle above this mountain. So yeah, we stayed at the hotel for one night, and in the morning we just, for some reason, we were really ambitious. So we decided to try to cycle it. And I remember before starting the trip up the mountain, I checked on Google Maps like all these small towns and cities, and for just like places that we could eat or get supplies or water, things like that. And yeah, when we actually came there were no people, no stores, nothing. So we kind of had to, just cycle on. Eventually we got no water, no food. We were super dehydrated and hungry, and everything was hurting, but we were almost at the top. So we just keep on cycling, and eventually we just fell down, just almost like passed out on the side of this like little main road on the top of the mountain. And we just lay there, just hoping for a car. And eventually it did come, a car. And he drove us to this small town nearby. And he knew like some people in this cafe in this small town. So he introduced us to them, and they took us in, and they gave us food and water and the best salami I've ever tasted in my whole life. But the point being that these people were so generous to someone that they have never met before. And I think it really like opened our eyes to what, I'm sorry, there's a cat here. So I think it really opened our eyes to like how good humans are. And we were just like sitting in this cafe, laughing and having fun and making connections with people from another country who doesn't even speak the same languages as we do. It's just the most basic form of human connection. We just like, just hanged out basically. And there were all these people outside the cafe in this small town. They've never seen two Norwegians before on bicycles, of course. So they just stand outside and watch us through the windows. And eventually there was this one guy named Pedro. He came into the cafe, and he said he was a taxi driver when he was younger on these mountains. But he has lived there his whole life, and he's now like 80 or 90 years old. So he offered to drive us from this small town back to the place that we were staying in, Las Palmas. So we accepted, because we can walk or think or anything. And we had to disassemble these bikes. The thing is, I have never cycled much before. I didn't know how to disassemble the bikes. And plus we were like, out of our mind, really tired. But these people just like helped us disassemble the bikes and put them inside a car, and like really just such nice people. And we drove with Pedro, and he knows all these places and the history and the culture, and he just pointed out, and he gotta say hi to everybody that we drove past. So I think the trip like could have taken 1 to 2 hours, but it took like 3 or 4 hours to drive because he was just the best human ever. And this experience of just like how good people really are, I think stayed with me and Marcus. So we kept on talking about this trip that we had and how much we loved it and how much it changed our view of so many things. And at some point I found this like website or like random thing about the European Divide Trail, the longest off-road mountain tour from Portugal to Europe in the world. So we decided that, one day we were going to cycle this, but it was just, for fun. We talked about it. But after maybe like 6 or 7 months, we just talked and talked. And at some point we realized we never stopped talking about doing this trip. So I remember like saying to Marcus, are we actually doing this? And he just, Andreas, let's do it. So I guess we are cycling from Portugal to Europe.